My life has become very easy lately. Otherwise, I don't have any other explanation why I'm making this particular video. Moin moin, dear people, old, new, my friends, the friends of my friends, my relatives, and anyone in the world found this channel and who thought that the topics I'm talking about might be interesting for them. My name is Anna of Northern Germany, and I will remind you that I'm a survivor, a fighter, a writer, and I have decided for myself that the main topics of this channel are going to be writing, books, and mental health awareness, all this together. But there are also videos that are my homeland related, and of course I cannot avoid talking about my homeland. My homeland is Russia, which is not doing great because it is under a dictatorship. And there are other videos related to Russia, and today's video, why generally I decided to film it, because recently there was some news that I saw and I couldn't ignore. The raincoat. I finally got the raincoat. It better be amazing, because just watch my previous video, okay? Yes, so there was some news that had made me very angry recently, and the politics, I'm very interested in the politics, and the reason why politics is not the main topic of my channel is that I really care for my mental health, and I am post-depression, and sometimes it's not easy to balance my mental state, and I also have some things going on the background. I was at the doctor's like 3 times this week, and good news is that my blood tests and everything and all my other tests are so good that, as we say it in Russian, I can be launched to the space tomorrow. The bad news is that what's wrong with me? It's just a typical case of being a woman in the medical system. Nothing. You can also watch a video about that. Yeah, so there was some news. I suggest discussing this news. I also say my opinion, disclaimer, this video and this channel and people who are subscribed on this channel are protected with the constipation curse. I've decided that the constipation curse is much worse than the diarrhea curse. That's why. Yeah, the constipation curse is flying to you if you decide to insult anyone or me on this channel, or if you want to tell me who the right refugees are and why Putin is so great and why whatever, you know. I'm always open to a friendly discussion and to a discussion between people who value each other's opinion, but otherwise, constipation curse. So if we discuss the things, the events that had happened recently, there are 2 major events that triggered something in me that hadn't been triggered for a very long time, because unfortunately I'm not too deep into this Russian topic right now, or fortunately, yes, I had already said, it's very difficult for me. I am not the healthiest person. If it happens that you enjoy me doing blah blah about my home country in this news topic, I can do that for you, but not too often. Not too often. It's definitely not something that is going to become the topic, the main topic of my channel. If you had watched my previous videos, you know that I have liberal views. I support democratic values, and I am very strongly anti-Putin. And I am a Navalny's follower. I used to support Navalny's team. I don't do that anymore because they lost my personal trust and the trust of all other people generally, and everything that is going on around Navalny's team right now is not the most positive of the things that might have happened to them. But yeah, it doesn't matter that much, because I'm going to present two news, and they are kind of not connected between each other, but actually they are connected. And do you want, which news do you prefer? I ask myself, you cannot unfortunately choose right now, but yeah, I think I will start with the one that had happened earlier and that struck me very unexpectedly. And the news is that the European Union is pushing through the new kind of sanctions, the new law. They are actively discussing that, and they are expecting that by the end of 2025, for Russians and for other citizens of dangerous countries, it will become much more difficult to obtain a visa. Yeah, never happened, and here we go again. One of my favorite Russian quotes. And it sounds strange because it's almost turning towards the 4th year of the war in Ukraine. And they had been discussing that before, and it's very unstable, and Czech Republic doesn't want to see Russians at all. Somewhere like Latvia, Estonia also. In some countries it was possible to get visas still. In other countries it was extremely difficult, and the process had been made more complicated quite a while ago, still in 2022. And who suggested that it's a good idea? Who could that be? Who could it be? Who could it be? My second homeland, the country that I really genuinely love. I love this country so much that I even wonder sometimes, maybe I do have some really distant relatives who lived or settled in this country, because sometimes I feel so very much in this country. I feels like this country suits me the most, and I couldn't have been happy in any other country. This is the country that could have kicked me out 3 years ago. It's also turning towards the 4th year. It could have kicked me out. I came to this country miserable, pleading for help. And this country, wow, miracle, didn't kick me out. This country provided me with help. The people who I love the most in the world live in this country. And this country is Germany. And I'm not a German citizen. And unfortunately, I cannot vote in the elections. But when the elections happened, I was saying that Olaf Scholz might look very boring. He might do stupid things, but he at least looks harmless. Friedrich Merz, though. The problem with Friedrich Merz is that he is a very big populist, and actually this is the age of populists, unfortunately. And he is very anti-immigration, because of course all the problems in the country are because of the immigration, obviously. Personally, I will tell you what I think about this news, and it makes me very angry. But I will also present the second piece of news, just for you to have, to be aware of what is going on and what I'm talking about. And the second piece of news, Yulia Navalny published a video, and she said that now it's for sure Alexei Navalny was poisoned in jail, in the ex-Gulag jail. He was poisoned, and apparently he had been dying very badly, in a very, very tragic way. And this is something that each of us could have guessed if you are in this topic. But she even provided us with the photo of the jail cell where he had been dying. And it looks horrible. It's of course censored, but everybody is talking about the cameras, or the cameras that were everywhere, that captured every second of Navalny's life. And of course, cameras suddenly disappeared on that very moment when he was dying. But it was clear that he had been dying in a very, very unpleasant way, and he was vomiting and he had cramps and nobody was helping him. Personally, I don't need to see these videos because I can imagine that it's already enough. It's horrible. But what's new besides that is that two countries, which two countries we don't know precisely. I suppose it's Germany, because all our migrational assets are going around Germany. And the second one is Latvia, I suppose, because Navalny's team is somehow rooted in Latvia, and even the book that they have, like Alexei Navalny's The Patriot, I think it was published in Latvia. So I suppose these two countries. I don't know that for sure. And they told her that he was surely poisoned, but she wasn't given the results. She is stating that in 2024, after Navalny's death, somehow in a very secure way, they transported some materials, and these materials were tested. But she cannot get the results because of some conspiracy, of silencing the victims, and because it's not the time to talk about the issue and that she must understand everything. But she says that she doesn't want to understand everything and that we must not stay silent because Putin is reigning in silence. So why and how are those two episodes connected? So follow my hands. I will present my opinion, my humble opinion that nobody needs probably, but yeah, I just feel very emotional and very attached to the story reviving around Alexei Navalny, and also I am very personally hurt that my favorite country in the whole world initiated a very, very discriminating and useless initiative. And if we go back to the visa, if we go back to the visas situation, why now? Originally, when the war began, there was a rumor of banning all visas for Russians. And at that point, I was a volunteer in France, and I was hit by this wave of this potential consequences and rumors. And one of my friends, he was saying that it makes sense, it makes very much sense, because people will start protest against Putin, and this is how the war has a chance to end. So, and I asked him, okay, should we kick all the Russians out of Europe, the US, etc., etc.? And he was, yeah, if it's needed. And I asked him then, what will you say if the police comes here and deports me because I'm Russian? I don't support Putin. I support Navalny's team. It's dangerous for me to come back home. And what would you say? No, it's a different thing, he said. Yeah, it's a different thing. Definitely, because we can talk freely about that only when we don't know the person. And also, if we go back to that topic, why Russians don't protest, it's a very, very complex issue. To know what Russians are, you can also watch my videos, like my folklore related videos, my videos, homeland related videos. And what I'm trying to do with these few videos of mine related to Russia, I just want you to see the world like with the volume, not flat, because there are so many things that are connected with this topic. And these reasons why people don't protest, they are rooted very deeply. And Russians, they are very superstitious. They are kind of religious but superstitious, but also they need a fatherly figure. And also this is the Soviet past. In the Soviet past, people had been lied to a lot, and they are taught to repress their feelings, and they are taught to silence themselves, starting from the years of Joseph Stalin. And also, if I want to recommend you some books to read, if you want to know something more about Russians, I can suggest reading almost every book by Svetlana Alexievich. She is a Belarus journalist, author. Every book of hers is very, very disturbing. But I think nobody can speak about the USSR as sincerely as she does. And also, another suggestion for you is Elena Kostyuchenko. She is a journalist and LGBTQ plus activist, and she wrote amazing articles. She reported about the war in Ukraine from the very first day. She was poisoned, and her book is called I Love Russia. And this book contains some reports, some journalist reports of her. And these journalist reports can also help you understand, like, Russia, like how people interact with each other, how they consider being loud, speaking about problems as a betrayal, because there are, like, my favorite chapters were the ones about people with special needs and mental restrictions, and how they live in this special house, like it's a hell for people with special needs, and how they live there, how they are sent there to die, how they lose all the rights of theirs. They cannot control their money situation, although they're not that deeply unwell, let's say it like this. Also, she was talking about a woman, being a woman and journalist, being assaulted at work while she was trying to get to a place where she was attempting to interview people. And also her report, like, there is a very big chapter about the pollution spread by one of the Putin's companies, and how difficult it was to collect all the clues. And not only was it difficult to collect the clues, but it was also difficult to publish the clues. Like, it was a really almost a detective story, but it was happening in the real life. Also, Russians are fearful. They are very high quality brainwashed, because Putin is being at power since 2100, and also they never lived well. They lived in poverty. They are living in poverty, and it's very convenient for the government when the people are living in poverty, because when they're trying to survive, they're not asking too many questions. They are not educate themselves. Well-educated people are also a very big issue, because for them it's normal to say that, okay, these people are bad people, there are us, there are them, and them deserve death. Thus, to go to the war, for example, for an ordinary man who wants to earn money because he is promised a lot of money, and also he's promised benefits for his kids in the future. And when there is no other option, they don't really imagine the war. The war is something far away. They don't imagine that. They just think that they will go there and they will earn some money. And they will return as a hero. And their family will become prosperous. And their children will go to the university because maybe their parents have never had a chance to go to the university. And if we imagine all these group of people, do you really think that banning the visas is going to change something for better? Not really. You must also understand that there is the difference between Moscow and the regions, and I'm kind of privileged to grow up in the region, and I taught English to privileged kids in Moscow via the internet. And I also taught English to the kids who are not privileged at all, the kids who came to my house or I went to their house and I taught English, and Moscow kids, they wanted to learn English. And the kids from my hometown, they just wanted the homework to be done. And then when I was trying to motivate them to learn English more deeply, because why, maybe one day you would want to travel. And they told me, no, I will never travel. My mom never traveled and I will never travel. Moreover, I can't care less. I want everyone to learn Russian. I don't understand why I should make such an immense effort to learn the language of the country where I will never be. Okay, who will suffer from the visas being banned? Although they're not actually being banned, it's like overcomplicated again. And the theory is also that Germany just wants to unify everything and to have the same bureaucratic laws because Germany loves that, and that means that Czech Republic will have to accept Russians under certain conditions. But what is going to happen? You can believe me, what is going to happen? People won't be able to travel. People who already have broader minds, maybe their family members already live abroad, and for these people who don't earn a lot of money, it's going to be very difficult. It's already very difficult to travel. For example, I don't know when I will be able to see my Russian friends. Probably, I don't know, when Putin dies, because it's very, very expensive and it's close to impossible to travel right now for them. And also, at the same time, people who have money, they don't have any trouble to travel around the world now, and they never will have any problems. And the government also, many of them have second passports, and at the same time, Putin, at the same time, Putin is mocking every one of us right now. He went to Alaska and he had the red carpet unrolled in front of him. And also Valentina Matvienko traveled easily to Switzerland. Of course, some people refused to listen to her speech, the place where she gave the speech. They wanted to boycott. They kind of protested. They didn't want to listen to her speech. But the truth is that she traveled there. She's a war criminal. And for usual Russian people, well, yeah, just a bit of a point for you to think about. And if we go back to Alexei Navalny and why it is related with the first piece of news, the thing is, unfortunately, it's not really common for the poisoned people to get their results. The results that to see what kind of the chemical element caused problems. Now they suffer from some post-poisoning symptoms, but it's too late to follow the track of the poisoning to understand what the reason was and what and how, etc. And also yesterday I listened to the interview of the journalist who was poisoned. This is the name of the journalist in her photo. And also she said that she was in Germany. Now I don't know where she is exactly, but in Germany it was very difficult to get this paper that she's allowed to go to this very secret military place to do the test. And she had to bring all this, you know, vessels with her blood, hair samples, with her hands. She had to go there, give the samples, and in the end they told her that they did something that they were not supposed to do. They did some other kind of the test, and then they lost her vessels, all these materials, they just lost them. And the same thing happened to Elena Kostyuchenko. They also told her that they lost these vessels. Knowing my favorite country, and I repeat that Germany is my favorite country, could it have happened that it really happened, that they lost samples? Yes, they could. It's Germany. It's Germany. Just to remind you, in the beautiful days when I was still an asylum seeker, I needed one paper to be prolonged. I went there 3 times. They made a mistake 3 times. And in the end, I was walking with the paper where with a pen, it was corrected, like the date was corrected for the right date. And like I could have corrected it myself like this. I had to prove then that I hadn't corrected it myself. You know, these things happen. I had been everywhere, starting from Sozialamt and ending with BAMF and everything. These things happen. So it's like 50-50. Maybe they lost it. Maybe the government is lying to us and the conspiracy is going on. But, the thing is, there are people who are benefactors of the war. There are people who must be under sanctions. They are not under sanctions. Yulia Navalny is begging the governments of the European countries to provide her with the results of her husband, to know for sure that he was poisoned with what he was poisoned with. Because, I don't know, if she wants that, she deserves that. Personally, if it is Novichok, if it is any other kind, it doesn't make difference for me. It was a murder. It doesn't make a difference for me. As a Russian, I can say, yeah, it doesn't make a difference for me. But for her, it makes a difference. So she deserves to know the truth. So on the one hand, we have Putin, who sits and waits for El Bento and Popa. I think it sounds like this in Spanish, when for the right wind of his ship, because this is how he had been living all his life. He just waits when the situation improves for him. He doesn't want to end the war. If anyone wants to tell me that he wants to end the war, let's just come back to a couple of months back, a month back, and all this Trump-Putin dance. Yeah, I don't know, for me it's obvious he doesn't want to end the war. At the same time, we have the United Nations who are always expressing their worries. We have the European Union who wants to do something because they're populists, because they want to show their electorate, the people who voted for them, that look, we are doing something, and also, yeah, so all these people, these Russian people who hadn't changed their opinion, they won't be benefiting from the European beauty, European resources, from our freedom, from our democracy, because this coffin must be sealed as it used to be, during the years of the USSR. So we have this. And also from the third side, the certain European leaders, they are quite hypocritical because, for example, I heard about a certain Estonian prime minister whose husband hadn't stopped economic relationships, as there was something logistics related with Russia since 2022, and when it was pointed out in August, there was an update that in September it wasn't cut on. And this lady, the prime minister, she said, "Yeah, it's my husband. These are his things. I'm not dealing with him. He can do what he's willing to do." You see what I'm talking about here. So I have a bit of a suspicion that the European Union is fighting a bit in the wrong direction, as we say it. The marvelous, majestic Russian language. It just makes me sick to think about the poor getting poorer and the rich getting richer, and in Russia, obviously. And also, I feel furious when I think about the possibilities that soon they will start removing sanctions from Putin's oligarchs, and they will continue buying gas from Russia, for example, via shady schemes, via India, and everything will continue as it is continuing, actually. So, yeah, it's a bit of a news blah blah. And I guess this is all what I had wanted to say. And if you want to share your opinion, respect other speakers, me especially, because this is my channel. And the constipation curse is flying too. If you don't, because it's not allowed on my channel, I don't want to see your dirty hands typing something like, Putin is so amazing, blah, blah, blah. If you have watched this video till the end, I'm immensely thankful. If you want to interact with this video, I will be twice as much thankful. And subscribe to my other media, to my Instagram, to my Medium if you want to. I have ideas of articles, and as soon as I finish editing my novel, I will dedicate the next month writing articles, and it will be related to the topic of people, kids and adults with special needs. You can also buy me coffee if you really want to, because this channel is not sponsored by the Russian government, thanks God. And yeah, I will be wishing you, as always, from my autumn northern Germany, love, love, and peace, peace, and truth. Who was worried about me getting soaked? I've got the rain jacket. Does it look very rain jackety to me? Not much, but they promised water repelling coverage, so I guess I'll have to look and see. But yeah, let's just not order things from China. It just doesn't make sense. I just made a mistake. Well, if it protects me from rain, it's good. If it doesn't, it's not very good. But I was stupid. I made this mistake. It has a hood. It's already better than something that I used to have. It's on the buttons. It closes. I don't really like the fact that it's on the buttons, but okay. And the sleeves could have been longer. Otherwise, again, we'll have to get soaked and see.